America's number one political hip hop radio talk show. Before we start, before we go any further, before we get to this wonderful show we have tonight, we have to first say this. All Politics are Local is purely a community radio show, and the views represent only the views of the people who speak them. We in no way or any manner reflect the views or positions of Rutgers University. We always got to start off with that. We always have to start off with the disclaimer because our views really do represent only ours. And we have a good show for us tonight. We have the Payne report that is going to be coming up shortly, and after that we will have a very good hour again talking about Newark and Newark Water. We will have Eric Olson from the NRDC. That is the group that sued the city. We'll also have Yvette Jordan on, who is a very outspoken person on water and the water crisis in Newark. After that, we will going to have Kareem Adim, who is the person who runs the water department in Newark, and we're gonna have a good show. We're gonna have a good show. It's gonna be water.
Let's give Kareem Adim's title correctly, man. He's the director in charge of the water and sewer department in the city of Newark.
Okay, he's the director of water and sewage in the city of Newark.
Right.
All right. So we will have a very lively show,
and he will also be bringing a guest with him.
Well, he won't be bringing guests with him, but we will also have a contractor on who
So
actually
he's calling in. He's not coming in.
Oh, he's coming in, but they're coming in together. It's not Kareem's guest, but he will have someone on with him that'll come in.
Okay.
And so that'll all be good. He's a person who is a contract to actually take some of the lead water lines out, and he'll talk about that process. I know that the mayor's trying to get a lot of people, jobs in terms of contracting with when taking these lead lines out. There's going to be millions of dollars spent. I think that it makes sense to try to spend some of that money in our community.
Right. So
we have Ed Riley, the creator of All Politics Are Local, to our right. We also have Chris Randall, who's here, and he's a brilliant young man and a brilliant Rutgers student. We have also the best DJ in the universe that is here as well. That is DJ Rhino. And I would say, DJ Rhino, what's up? And DJ Rhino would say, yep, yep. So is that what you have to say, DJ Rhino? Is it yep, yep?
No, it's peace, peace.
Peace, peace. All right, I got it wrong. My bad. So peace, peace. So we are happy to have everyone here today. We have so Ed, how have you been, man?
Hey, listen, man, I've been well, bless God, man, and thank God it's Friday.
You always say thank God it's Friday because you say you're blessed, so you got to thank God at the same time.
Yeah.
Right. So
but it's been a crazy week, though. Let's admit that, because I'm curious before we get into the Payne report, before the congressman get here.
Well, you're right. Oh, you're saying
some of what y'all thought about the Geithner,
oh, you mean white woman tears?
What went on with the 10 years? What happened with the judge? What happened with?
Are you talking about the white woman who got 10 years for killing a black man in his own house?
Yeah, you saw all of that. Hey, I'm curious to get y'all opinion on that.
I have several. I think the first thing is I watched a police dog. Somebody murdered a police dog, got 45 years.
Right. Was he black? The person who murdered the police dog?
Bring it up.
So a black man murdered a dog gets 45 years, and a white cop murders a black man in his own house gets 10.
Yeah.
And hugs. Do you think that the black man who got 45 years got a hug from the judge?
We know he got a finger.
We have never seen that before.
Do you know like he killed a dog, but he probably felt bad about giving 45 years. Do you think the police officer who owned the dog gave him a hug?
No, we know he got a finger.
Well, I mean,
he didn't get a hug though.
No hug?
But a finger?
Well, I mean, I'm just saying.
You know what I would say about that?
What?
I think that the
hug a black person. Hug a white person.
No, we good.
You want to hug him?
No. The angle.
You mean if someone kill your brother, you want to hug him?
I'm an only child.
Right.
The most interesting part is the way that the question of theology has been being raised, because his father, Bolton John's dad, said, "I'd like to at some point be your friend," and that's the reason why we're Christians.
That's not. What kind of Christianity is that? I thought for forgiveness you have to ask first, not stand your ground.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
I mean,
I think that that's the angle that I think is the most important, because I think that has been the place that people have had, at least on my timeline and such, people have been sort of having the dialogue is how do we reconcile the theological bend that's there and what that means. And also, I think that Dr. Riley told me a story a few years ago. We talked about being in court and a black man killing another black man. He got life. And he's like, but I only killed a black. He didn't use the word black. Only killed an N word.
it started in it, right?
Right.
Right. That's
This
an
kind of
actual
rule-
story. Ed Riley was in court, doing legal stuff, giving advice, and the judge gives another black man life sentence for killing another black man, and he was shocked, and he said, "But I only killed an N-word." Right.
Right.
And I most certainly didn't see the judge come down and hug this 19-year-old kid, and I didn't see any sympathy. I didn't see any tears. I saw somebody get almost 50 years in jail, and it was absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
And then what we saw this week, and to have seen that, and clearly this police officer said that she meant to kill this man when she shot him.
Right.
She said, she was shooting to kill.
Right.
She shot him in his heart, and the bullet immediately killed this man.
Yeah.
And she did nothing to try to revive him. Right. I think that what really blew my mind is that what the young man said. Right. I get Christianity. I get forgiveness. I get all of that. Right. But I think that what happened is that to the larger public, you talking about black people who have been raped, robbed, murdered, everything you could imagine has happened to black people in this country. And white people are yet to apologize for what has happened to us in slavery, right? They refuse to do that. And yet you see time and time again when white folks kill black people, we are supposed to show up and apologize. Think about what happened in South Carolina, right? When
At the Mother Emanuel Church.
Right. When Rulon, what was his
Dylan
name?
Roof.
Dylan Roof goes in and kills all of those black folks in Bible study.
Right.
And those black people start saying, "Oh, we forgive you, we love you," and all that. And white folks say, "Oh, oh, that's so wonderful, that's so beautiful." And everything you saw in the news after that this week, that's all you heard. You even heard black folks saying it.
I like what Haq Muhammad says. Haq Muhammad is a youth minister for the nation in Newark. He was on the show, and I think he was on the show around the time of South Carolina. One of the things he said was, "You're talking about forgiveness, and people talk about forgiveness, but why? But even in the scripture, you have to ask for forgiveness. Like in order, like there's a process
Right.
that's there to it,
Right.
right? Like you ask for forgiveness, and then people forgive you. Because if you're not asking for forgiveness, there's nothing to forgive.
Right.
Right? Like you have not repented, you have not admitted you have done something wrong.
Right.
Like she had a defense that said, "I didn't do it. I'm
Right.
innocent.
Right.
I want to stand my ground."
And she didn't even say she
Right.
was sorry.
Right.
Yeah, but the reality is, I don't think the thing that I would like to say, part of the millennial generation is this kind of thing fuels black on black crime too. Let me explain.
Yeah, because we're all
Kids-
just looked at you.
Let me explain. For me, my coming of age story in terms of understanding my blackness in America was Trayvon Martin,
That's right.
2012. For me, that reality of what does black life mean in America and what is the penalty for extinguishing said lives trickles down to the psychic reality of black people themselves. If you are a young black man in America, you just watch an officer claim to have gone in the wrong apartment, shot a man in cold blood while eating a bowl of cereal.
No, he was eating ice cream
Eating ice cream
in his own apartment, watching television, which
Right.
is what normal people do after work, right?
Right.
Just relaxing,
Right.
Yeah,
and someone comes into your home
and kill you.
and kills you.
Right.
Right.
And you watch a judge hug them,
Mhm.
the family talk about how much they love them,
Right.
and they get an extremely lenient sentence.
Right.
Right.
What does that say to kids about what the value of what their life means?
Right.
And I think that
That you can now be killed while you're sitting
in your
on
home,
the couch
in your house,
watching television and eating ice cream.
in your house.
and literally
then
literally,
get access to the castle doctrine like
Right.
that was her house.
Right.
Well, she didn't get it. They did. The jury voted not to.
Right.
Give
Yeah,
her
but the
that.
fact that you even express it,
Right.
the fact that you even express, like,
Right,
I'm in
that's what
somebody
I-
else's house.
That's what I'm saying. She was not taking responsibility for anything that occurred.
Right.
Right.
So
The,
I think
the defense was trying
yeah.
at every turn to prove that she was innocent,
Well,
right? And then, but here's the point, right? Realistically, she got 10 years, but
She really might
you know
get
she
5.
can get because she only has to do 5, right? Then she comes up for parole, and then what
And
happens
then some of
after
it's
that?
already served.
Right, and then right. Remember, that's what the judge said. Then the other thing is she get time for good behavior. So every day that she's in there and she got good behavior, she's getting days taken off. Then here's the thing: she's a police officer. You see how much love she got? She's not gonna. She's gonna be in protective custody, and I guarantee you, her doors won't be locked. She won't be in shackles. She'll be able to move around with all the other guards and do everything. She'll be locked up, but she'll have total freedom. Right? She'd be going to get. It'd be just like she worked there, man. She'd be getting coffee. She'll be going, in and out when she want to.
Well, yeah.
Her doors won't be locked. Right? This is what we see that is
Sure.
about to happen to this woman. And she probably and remember, if they get an appeal, right? And here's the other thing: if I was the prosecutors, right, I would go and appeal those 10 years, right? And I would ask
Appeal
for a
that
whole
decision.
yes, absolutely.
Sentencing.
And ask for a whole new trial because I'm saying she should at least get 25 to 30 years.
Yeah, but guess
And
what?
I'm saying
If you
without
got a whole
parole.
new trial, she wouldn't even get convicted.
She wouldn't get convicted.
Well, see,
She'd be crying.
The thing about racism in
it,
America,
it may not, but you would have to try to find a different jury.
but Dr. Rowley, my problem is I think that the reality is
But
America is so
but
racist.
But here's my point, though, Chris. She's probably only going to serve about
3 to 5.
But no, may not even be 3 to 5. She may be out in 2 years, because remember, it's all about good behavior, right? And so she's going to have the protection of the entire CO department inside lockup wherever she's going. So the night crew gonna watch her, the day crew gonna watch her. She ain't gonna be on no suicide watch, just like she going to camp, bro.
Listen, America's so racist. We celebrate anytime justice even happen a little bit.
Right.
And my thing is, I also, in a way, I'm trying to understand the family's perspective here, because it really hurt me. It hurt me to my heart to watch "We love you, give us a hug."
Right.
The bailiff fixing her hair all during the trial.
Right.
Like, these things are just
Right.
Right.
I really don't know how to articulate.
It was
What
like she
level of
was playing.
psychosis?
It was like she was playing with the Barbie dolls hair,
Yeah.
like a
Yeah.
little white doll. She doing her hair.
Yeah. And I don't know what that says about the mentality of Black people generally. I really don't.
Yeah, it says that, as Dr. Guru says, she says that there's no post-traumatic slave syndrome for Black people.
Yeah.
Right? And that's what the mayor said when he was sitting there, right? We are still suffering, right? A mental psychosis.
From slavery.
Absolutely.
No, I agree.
Absolutely.
And this was like
the thing is that white folk know that, right?
This is
that
like
we're
a
still
judicial
suffering.
Gone with the Wind moment.
But the problem is that we are so goddamn crazy. We're killing each other, bro.
Yeah, but that's the only place that this is the part where I think this matters, in terms of, I think that Black kids grow up without a value to Black life because they see what happens to Black people
Right.
through the systems of it.
Kim.
Yep. So no, that makes a lot of sense, right?
Like my coming of age moment was Trayvon Martin.
Right.
You mean we got him on videotape saying, "Hey, don't follow him, don't get out the car, don't do this," and then there's a scuffle and he dies, and a teenager dies, and there's no justice.
Right.
What does that say about what our bodies mean in the world?
Right.
Right. Absolutely. Right. And it says that the lives are valued, man. It says the lives are valued. Like some of the things that happen are, and that you see in this particular decision, is something that like, I don't know how, and I don't know even if the people who are doing it know the implications of what that is. Oh yes, we have Congressman Payne is on the phone. So Congressman Payne, how are you, man?
The show goes on without you, huh?
Oh, it doesn't go on well without you, man. Doesn't go on well without you. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Oh man, good hearing from you, Congressman. We know that it's been a very eventful down there. I mean, you've got well, how's it going, man? Like with all the talk of treason and president saying, "Hey, China, look at my enemies. Everybody, you foreign, look at my." I mean, he wilding out, right? What's going on, man?
Oh, yeah, it is amazing day to day what President Trump is capable of, and we're just hunkering down now and getting ready to do the work that the Constitution says is our mandate.
All right, so what else are you looking at right now?
Well, I mean, it's really just one thing, and it's the actions of this president and the manner in which he demonstrates his unconstitutionality every single day. He has not read the Constitution. He does not know it's in the Constitution. I'm not sure he can spell Constitution.
Did he just say
But
you don't think Donald Trump can spell the word Constitution?
we'll have to check. There's only one way to find out.
Fair enough.
But it is just appalling. And you think you get to a point where you thought you've seen it all, and then the next day comes along and it's something new. But this whole issue around Ukraine is pretty indicting, self-indicting, to be honest. I mean, the more he talks, the slippier the slope gets. And like I said, we have a lot of capable people on Capitol Hill that understand what the Constitution is all about and are going to perform their duties in a manner in which the American people want to see us perform them. I have been inundated over the last several months with people coming up to me on the street and saying, "Why won't you just impeach him? Why don't you just?" Well, it's a little more complicated than just doing it. There are different rules and regulations that we have to go through, but I mean, it's clear that this president is acting unlawfully and needs to be stopped.
Now, what are the? I know you support impeachment, and do you think that process is going to actually happen? Like, do you think that he's going to be impeached or removed from office before the election?
Well, if the evidence leads us to that conclusion, then absolutely. It's a matter of getting all the facts out before the American people and deliberating on it and see where it takes us. So it's really, it's basically what President Trump is doing as opposed to where we wanted to go. We're going to go where the evidence leads us.
Yeah, but the evidence is coming out of his mouth every 10 minutes. Like he's like, "Hey, China, look, look for me."
Well, that's the point. I mean, as I stated, self-indicting. I mean, so he makes our job very easy. But
Trump is snitching like his name was Takashi.
Wow.
This president has slipped out of other circumstances prior to this. So we're vigilant and on the job because we know he's made the unnormal normal now, and people don't even really want to even the truth used to be good enough. Now the truth is in question every single time this president opens his mouth. Well, it's not in question. It actually is non-existent. This president has a tendency to
lie.
Go, yeah.
You're trying to be diplomatic because you're a politician. You were like, how will I say this? It's Trump. He lied.
That's true.
Yeah, but Congressman Peach, this is Ed. The thing is, man, is that this guy's imploding right in front of us, right? I mean, I think that, he and his attorney general are really just saying that they have no respect, right? Not only for Congress, but they have no respect for the rule of law. I mean, they get subpoenaed by Congress, and they basically say, "Oh, the hell with that." You know what I mean? Then you got the guy who's in charge of the State Department. He says he wasn't on the call. Then all of a sudden, once there's evidence that shows he was on the call, then he says, "Oh yeah, I was on the call." I mean, just lie. And the thing is that if any of us were doing that, Congressman, not only would we lose our jobs, but we would be shunned in public life, right? Particularly if you're a politician.
But maybe it's not. Oh yes, Congressman.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and Secretary Pompeo,
Exactly.
who I knew as a member of Congress prior to him accepting that position, um, you know, he knows better. But I think this person draws you in to his mindset, and I mean, you just get drawn in and you start lying as well. There's no way that Secretary Pompeo um, would have gone along with a lot of this ridiculousness uh, 2, 3 years ago, but now he's all in and has adopted the Trump philosophy in not telling the truth.
Now, what I'm curious about, now you said that, if he's impeached, whether he be convicted or removed from office would depend on the evidence. But do you trust the good Republicans who are in Congress, or who are in the Senate right now, to actually convict? Because what you're saying about Pompeo, I just see of basically all of the Republican politicians, 60% of white people in America. I mean, they love Trump. I mean, he's got 91% approval rating among, the Republicans who are like 98% white, represent, and what they represent. If I think of the presidential election we're ahead today, he would get 59, 60% of the white vote. I think it would be strong out for him, even with him actually admitting to breaking the law, committing acts like treason. Like, it seems like hating Mexicans is more important than, love of country.
Yeah,
No, it's
that's
true.
interesting.
It's true, and it's just amazing to watch this country be torn down in a crescendo of lies and mistruths. Uh, it it just bites at everything that we were raised to respect and understand. It's just baffling. I mean, really, it's just shake shake your head moment every single day, 4 or 5 times a day. But we've got the leadership in the House of Representatives focused on the unconstitutionality of this president, and we're going to move forward in our duties as members of the House of Representatives.
Do you find that, I mean, do you have private conversations with some of the Republicans who are on the other side of impeachment, and they tell you stuff privately that they wouldn't say publicly?
Not too many, but the telltale sign for that is the number of members for the Republican side that are retiring and not seeking reelection.
Mm.
That's really the telltale sign.
Why is that? Like,
there are six members in the Texas delegation alone are not seeking reelection.
why would that be a sign? Like, how can we read that?
Well, I mean, if you're doing a good job and you're living up to the what the American people want to see from you as members of Congress, then you'd be in good stead and you would run again. But I think a lot of these Republicans, they can't come out against him yet, but if they retire, then they can kind of speak their own mind because they don't have to worry about retaliation from the president, who says he will primary anybody, and has done it on the Republican side if you don't go along with him. So it's been interesting to watch. The people, they rather quit than fight. So it's just been really interesting. It has a lot to do with where the Republican Party is and members of decent and honorable actions are at this point in time.
Yeah, but you know what it is, though, Congressman. We talk about folks who, when you think about when Clinton was the president, all you heard from Republicans, the Constitution, the Constitution, the Constitution, the Constitution.
Right.
Now we're having a constitutional crisis as it relates to this particular president and all of his men, and these guys act like the Constitution doesn't even matter.
Because it doesn't to them.
Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing, and it's unfortunate that there are other opportunities or instances in history where this has been the way it is. We're led to believe, do this properly and live up to this honorably and all. And then whenever it doesn't fit their narrative, oh, never mind. Oh, no, we just, we don't do that. What are you talking about?
Right.
It's just throw it out the window once it's not useful for their narrative. So it's really, I grew up. The Russians are terrible.
Yeah.
The Russians are coming to get us.
Right.
We're doing drills, getting under our you young folks, all politics, getting under our desk, to hide from going down in the basement of the schools and bomb shelters. Now it's over. You know what? Never mind. All of that doesn't matter. There were times when people, to insult you, they would call you a Russian or a commie. Black folks, you're a commie, you're a Russian, you're a Russian sympathist. Now, guess what? It's all, forget all that.
Right.
It's all right. So everything I was led to believe for 40, 50 years is now debunked and thrown out the window.
Well, it is and it isn't, right? Because we all knew the way race operated. And I really do think that the only thing that would get Trump impeached and Republicans to be like, nah, we'll never support you, is if Trump came out tomorrow and was like, I think Mexicans are really great people. I think we need, if Trump came out and was like, I think we need more Mexicans in the United States.
Or reparations.
Right, a reparation. But people wouldn't know what reparations were. They know what Mexicans are. They don't know what reparations are. We said reparations. People were like, well, I don't know. Does that mean we all get paid? Right. So that might not work. But if Trump was like, yo, I was wrong. I love Mexicans. I want to open up some borders. We need more Mexicans in the United States. All of a sudden, Republicans would be like, I think he violated the Constitution. We have to have standards here, right? I think he's taking money. I think it's corrupt. I think they've been doing a lot of that.
The next day.
Right, the next day, if he was like, peace up to the Mexicans.
Oh, yeah. No, well, it'd be a stretch, but now I understand what you're saying. It's just amazing that the power, the office, they really do it, but just the power that he has over people with just lying. Has it been something that the American people finally feel free that they can lie? They don't have to tell the truth, or it's funny. It's like they can lie and don't tell the truth, but now they're doing everything they can to tell the truth about how they really feel about certain people in the world. So it's kind of a catch-22. It is really something to watch. But I think that the president only has 40% of the American people with him, and that we have to make sure that swing number of people that go from Democrats, Republicans, back and forth, depending on the issues and how the independents and non-decided folks come our way and understand that this man means no good for this nation. He's just absolutely destroying this country and this republic.
Yeah, absolutely. Folks, by the way, you're listening to the Payne Report. And of course, the voice you're listening to is Congressman Donald M. Payne Jr., the host of the Payne Report. Go ahead, Congressman.
Yeah, so, we, Seamus Waters and, all the other chairs that Mr. Cummings and, the committees of jurisdiction go down their road and do their work is really awe-inspiring. Ms. Waters has been there from day one. So, it's almost like a I told you so moment.
That's right.
For her. And, Jerry Nadler from New York over judiciary. And so, there's going to be, and Ada Schiff from for intelligence. We have some really capable people at the helm of these committees and are going to try to get to the bottom of this. And we're going to have to see how long the Republicans last with that whole notion that there's no there. Now, there's a lot. There's a lot.
Yeah, but
that, we can see.
And I'm just like, whether people want to see it or don't want to see it, but I think people might choose not to see it. But I do have one question for you on a slightly different subject, Congressman. And we always talk about this. We don't always talk about this, but we talk about this maybe once every 2 or 3 shows. And that's we know that Newark has infrastructure problems, like whether it's water, whether we need to build that new bridge in New Jersey. Like we have infrastructure problems, what we need federal money for, and an infrastructure bill. And I really did. And I remember you were on here, before, and we talked about how passing an infrastructure bill would help Trump, right? Like it would help the Republicans, it would help Trump, it would help Democrats. It would be something that everybody would benefit from, right? Especially the Republicans would benefit from it because they could say, we did stuff. They would put like trillions of dollars into the economy. It would be a boost for the economy, and it would give, many of the hardest hit Democratic districts things that we could use as well. Do you think there's any chance of infrastructure happening in the next, before this is up?
Well, before you answer that though, Congressman, didn't you post something on your page where you said that Trump had signed a water infrastructure funding bill or something?
Well, we have been, a great man in Newark once said that wherever the country is going, Newark would get there first. The Honorable Kenneth Allen Gibson, first African-American mayor of Newark, New Jersey, said that in 1970, wherever the country was going, Newark would get there first. So I say that to say that this issue with the lead piping is a national issue. It's not a Newark issue. It's a national issue. There was a point in time just several months ago that it's rectified, I believe, but in the Cannon House office building where my office resides in Washington, D.C., we couldn't drink the water because of lead piping.
Wow.
And so it's a national topic. As we've been stated by the mayor and everyone, the water source is fine, and we have to continue to get that message out. The water at its source in the reservoir is fine. It's when it comes down to the city, goes to the mains, and then is distributed from home to home off of that main piping where the issue belongs, where the issue belongs. And it's between the water main in the street to the house.
So what you're saying is, the source water is fine, the municipal pipes are fine, but the privately owned lead lines that lead the water to your house, if you are one of the 15,000 people who are in that, who
18,000.
Oh, well, you're right. If you're one of the 18,000 people who have lead lines, But remember, the water treatment only didn't work where there were 15,000, right? Like
Right.
if you were one of those 15,000 that were in the area where, the water treatment had failed, then you have to check and get your water tested and use a filter and make sure that you are okay. And sign up to have your lead lines removed for free.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, there is a great program that the city and the county are, and even the state has been helpful, and the federal government in getting this issue resolved.
Now, how's the federal government help? I've heard that the state, and when we talk to city officials, they talk very specifically about the county and the state helping. How is the federal government actually helping this?
Well, there's grant funding that's available that they're using, Clean Water Act and dollars that come through that program. But you have to understand, when the federal government, I try to get people to understand, like the city is on the ground, the county is near the ground, the state is overall watching, and then you have the federal government 30,000 feet above watching everyone in the country. So what happens is, and I use the analogy, it's like having two children, and you're each giving them an allowance to do the things that they need to do in order to continue, in their school life. Say my three children, I each give them an allowance. I know the first one will do all right. The second one's all right, but that third one, he kind of, or she kind of, messes up the money or doesn't use it for what its intended purpose is. That's the federal government. Once I get secure dollars for my district, it goes to the state. And prior to Governor Murphy, who we had at the state.
Okay.
So I had to worry about whether those dollars that were allocated for this issue would ever get to benefit the people having that issue or whatever it is.
So
would it ever really get there? Because that money can be diverted. Once it gets to the state, it can be diverted for, specific mandates on what that money does. And, you'll have sometimes where money goes to the state, and since they don't use it for the intended purpose, it sits in an account because they can only use it for that purpose.
Ah.
So, sometimes there's pools of money sitting around that can't be accessed because it wasn't used, wasn't used for its proper intent. So that's really the federal government. I've been doing a lot of research with my staff. We have engaged the BA in Newark and have tried to help them identify different programs and what have you on the federal government level that Newark should apply for.
Okay.
And once they apply for it, then I can engage the federal government supporting them with these issues. So.
And of course, like now that you have a governor where we get the money, that money will be directed. Or I'm assuming you're confident that the money will be directed to where it needs to go.
Oh, absolutely. The governor has been, right up front with the mayor. Every time I turn around, he's in Newark lately. So he understands the magnitude of this issue and what it means to the largest city in the state. And as Newark goes, so does the rest of New Jersey.
And, so, to some extent, the rest of the country, because this really is a national issue. And one of the things that struck me about the water issue is why are there lead pipes? Why are there lead pipes still there anyway? Right? We've known they've been potentially dangerous since the 20s and 30s. They're all over the country. Why are they still there? Why haven't there been a concerted effort to remove them all over the country where they are? And so I think that just having the grants, and people are starting to recognize that this is a thing, that this is an issue that affects them, because their surrounding communities in Newark, like Belleville, was affected, and there are a few places around Newark
Hillside.
Hillside are connected, and with a different a different economic demographic, different racial demographic, and they're getting hit with this issue too. And but Newark is actually on the way to dealing with it first, because the laws that were passed in order to help Newark. The thing that they did with the county was done to get the money to actually take them out and have it paid for not by the residents. Is also something that Newark came up with, so I think that's all good. So maybe is there a larger bill coming federal for federal dollars dealing with this national problem?
Well, I have been doing, as I said, a lot of research, and have been in consultation with the member from Flint, Michigan, when they, had this issue several years ago, and following the steps that Flint took in order to secure dollars to help rectify the situation. Now, in Flint, it was a water source,
Right.
as opposed to the piping. And, in terms of the lead pipe, up till this breakdown, there was a corrosion inhibitor that went through the pipe that kept this issue from impacting people's water.
And what surprised me is that they do this all over the country, right? Like, because I didn't really know about it until I really didn't understand it until this broke, and started doing a lot of reading about it. And I really didn't realize that all over the country they use corrosion inhibitors, because they know that there are these, there are these lead lines that to them is too expensive to move. So they don't do so they use chemicals to make sure that make sure that the lead does not seep into the water. And I didn't realize that until maybe a few months ago when it started happening, when the most recent thing broke.
Right. I think we all learned a great deal about our water supply at that point in time. And, had that not happened, we'd still, probably be, unaware of that issue. When the first inkling of an issue in Newark several years ago, when they found it in the schools, I proposed a piece of legislation that would allow municipalities that had funds through the Clean Water Act, that they would be able to use those funds for testing of the school system waters throughout the country. And got some traction, but I think now, it's been realized that maybe I was on to something. So we're hoping that we're able to get that piece of legislation passed. But, water is life.
Right.
It's the essential component of life. So most of our bodies are water.
That's
so,
right.
It's really just a situation that we have to be vigilant and serious about and rectify as soon as possible.
Did you get a chance to see the mayor's town hall on Wednesday?
I did not. I was still in Washington. I just drove up this morning from Washington, D.C. myself, and I did not get the opportunity, although my chief of staff was there and gave me a bit of a briefing.
You said your chief of staff was, I'm sorry, I couldn't hear the last thing you said.
Yeah, my chief of staff represented me there, and he's given me a preliminary update, but next week we'll go into detail on what transpired at the town hall.
Hey, Congressman, before we run out of time, I know DJ Rhino wanted to talk a little bit about what took place at the Congressional Black Caucus.
Rhino's
yeah.
popular in D.C.
Oh, is he really?
Oh,
Rhino didn't come back tooting his own horn, so he wanted to wait until you got on the show.
Well, we we all know him, and he's not that kind of guy.
Exactly.
To this horn, he shows you when he's working those turntables what he's about. And he got down there in D.C. and did not disappoint. There was a situation that arose where Mr. Richmond decided to invite a DJ from his hometown at the last minute. We were all kind of surprised by it. But
they should have had a battle. Our DJ would have won.
Rhino made the best of the situation and being the man that he is, and it really worked out in his benefit because nobody was feeling the other dude. Everybody kept talking about my DJ.
That's right.
Rhino.
We knew that.
So, no, it was a great time, and maybe he could just talk about, how big the room is, what it was like and the vibe, and the type of thing they were doing down there.
Yeah, definitely.
Get done with the work.
Definitely, man. This is DJ Rhino, Congressman. How you doing?
All right.
All right. Yeah, nah, definitely. It was definitely a good night. I tell people, I lost like 2 pounds just from nerves.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Because that's how big of an event it was for me. But nah, I definitely enjoyed it. We had a good time. My wife had a good time. She brought one of her friends along as well. And yeah, it was enjoyable. We ran into Councilwoman Donna Williams. She was down there, and yeah, it was really good. Really enjoyed it. The other brother was good though. I mean, the other DJ, I gotta shout him out. What's his name? Blazer Boy T from Louisiana. Yeah, he did a little turn up for the New Orleans heads. You know what I'm saying? They turned up a little. Yeah, he did his thing. But yeah, I had to represent for my brother, and for the hometown.
Like I said, you never disappoint.
Thank you.
So.
Thank you, and thank you again for that opportunity too, man. That's always going to be a memorable thing for me, man.
Well, I mean, there's next year too, man.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Because they want the best DJ in the universe. They're gonna know what we know.
Yeah. Hey, so, Congressman, I'm just curious to know, Rhino, was there one signature song that you played? Like in Washington, how people when they played the butt, everybody go crazy. Was there one song that you played?
That's a long time ago in DC.
I don't
like
that
go.
It's hard to say. I made sure I played what was going to move the people.
Right.
But as far as repping Jersey, I wasn't able to go into the club music like I wanted to because it was a young crowd.
Okay.
So I definitely had to play a little bit more recent stuff, and definitely they wanted the hip hop stuff.
Okay.
But but I could say this though, when I threw on Redman, Let's Get Dirty, it was jumping.
Okay. Well, listen, man, I'm glad that Rhino didn't disappoint. I'm glad that he went down there and and represented for you, Congressman. So that so everybody in the CBC understand what kind of backup you got back home.
That's straight up. They all know now.
and that person from Virginia is not bringing anyone next year because he don't want to get embarrassed. I'm gonna say that.
No L.
That's right.
Yeah, we're gonna do it up with Rhino.
Well, listen, man. One thing is for sure, Congressman. I think that not only did you look Rhino out, man, but you did the same thing for Pastor Ali. So again, man, I want to say big up to you for getting that done because he came back, talked a little bit about that as well.
What about Pastor Ali? What happened? I missed it. What? Y'all don't tell me nothing, man.
Oh man.
I mean, I thought I was in. I thought you'd tell me something. Congressman, what happened with Pastor Ali? What happened?
Well, we were able to have Pastor Ali be the guest chaplain for the United States House of Representatives several weeks ago.
Oh, nice.
It's truly an honor that is bestowed upon not very many pastors and chaplains. So, when my opportunity came around, there wasn't anybody else I could think of. Pastor in the hood. He's done so much for so many people on the ground here in New Jersey and across the country that, you know, I wanted him to get an opportunity to give the prayer on the floor of Congress. And, you know, it's quite an honor. So, and he didn't disappoint either. You know, Jersey boys, Jersey people, we just, you know, we rise to the occasion.
Right.
And,
So you brought the spirit.
Did the same thing. So it was really a great couple of weekends for me. Well, a couple of days with Rhino and then Pastor Ali, you know, representing where we come from.
That's what I'm talking about, Congressman. You know, when you put the call out, you know, to the folks in your district, in your hometown, you know that they're gonna come and they're gonna represent, man. You know.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so, you know, when when Ali got back here, man, and you know what I didn't know? I didn't know you and him have been friends for over 50 years.
Wow,
man.
I didn't know that either.
Absolutely. From seventh grade till today, we've known each other. So we've come a long way. We both looked at each other, you know, came off the floor, and we were like, boy, if they only knew.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it was just a great moment for both of us to, like, you know, look where we were to where we've come. And so it was a great event and opportunity.
Well, I gotta
showcase my home people.
Yep, I gotta tell you, man, I saw it, and you know, and I felt extremely proud of both of y'all, man. You know what I mean? And just to look at that and say, wow, man, you know, and big up to you, man, for, you know, I mean, some people, man, you know, are not willing to take other people with them, particularly from their community, man. But I want to say big up to you, Congressman, man, for, you know, keeping your brotherhood alive, man. I just want to say big up to you for that, brother.
Well, thank you. It's my duty and obligation that I've been put in a very unique position, and anytime opportunity that I can expose the nation to the great people from this area, I'm going to do that.
Right. Well, Congressman, we out of time, man. Any final words? Any final things you want to say? We're coming to the end of the Payne report.
No, just that you know, J. Cole put out a new piece of music by Gangstar Guru. You can hear him again.
Oh wow!
Came out about 2 weeks ago, and I was down in Mississippi last week, and the person I was with said, you know, I mentioned Gangstar, and he said, oh, you know, J. Cole just did something with him, and so he turned it on, and we were bumping it down in Mississippi. It was really good to hear his voice again.
You hear that, Rhino?
Typically, DJ Rhino ain't tell us.
Last week.
Wow, he did. He did play it last week.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what's up. Of course he did.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, Chris Randall, don't sleep on DJ Rhino.
You know, Guru is somebody that I hold in high esteem for his skill as an MC. And he's truly missed. Hey,
listen, man, don't front. You got to respect the Congressman Hustle when it comes to knowing what's going on in the hip hop industry right now. Can't knock your hustle.
That's right.
All right.
That's my song too.
Well, all right, Congressman. Listen, man, we want to thank you for calling in and doing your show, my brother. We appreciate that, man. You know, this is the Payne Report. Y'all listening to Congressman Donald Payne Jr. If y'all missed it, hey, listen, all I can tell y'all is make sure y'all tune in next month to catch our brother. Congressman Payne, we're going to get up with you, man. You take care, my brother.
Thank you, Congressman Payne. We always appreciate it.
All right. Good to talk to all of you. Take
all
care.
Right, brother. Peace.
All right. So this is All Politics Are Local, America's number one
political hip hop radio talk show.
We are here. We are going to come back very shortly. We are going to have on the air. We're going to have Eric Olson from the NRDC, and we are also going to have Yvette Jordan, who is already here, and they're going to be talking about a lot of the issues that they were having with the water. Eric Olson's the head of the NRGC, and he's the head of the and they're the entity that sued the city over water. And so we're going to have a really good conversation and a really good, lively conversation when we get back. And Yvette Jordan is very outspoken about a lot of the issues that she has in terms of with water.
Okay, well, why don't we take a break? You can do the introductions when you get them on.
Oh, I was just doing an anticipation.
Your call is on the line, so let's take a break so we can set everything up.
All right,
and then we'll get everything going. Okay.
Okay, cool.
All right, you ready, DJ Randall?
Yeah.
Let's take a break and we'll set everything up.
All right, when we get back, we're going to have a good, lively show, and the whole second hour is going to be about water. All right, DJ Rhino, take it away.
Who's Eric Wilson?
It's Olson.
Oh,
Eric
Olson. It sounded like you said Wilson.
okay. So you want to set it up? He's on hold.
Diamonds are